The real debt crisis is in your own home oftentimes. Don't be debt-free. Instead, get financially free so that you can buy time and finally start to be yourself. Look at this. 20 years from now, the only people who will remember if you worked late are your kids. Yeah, trading your time for dollars and selling your time for money is the wrong path in life, including if it's to prioritize debt pay down. You are not playing a game worth winning if that's the case. So settle in and watch this video until the end because it's a deeply important discussion. Really, it's about who you want to become in this life. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold, Get Rich Education founder, Forbes Real Estate Council member, and longtime real estate investor, joining you from Chicago today as we're learning about how the real debt crisis is in your own home. First, what is the difference between financial freedom and debt freedom? Well, I think that anyone knows that being debt-free simply means that you don't owe anyone any money. On the other hand, financial freedom means that enough income recurs reliably every month without your involvement, and that amount is enough to meet or exceed all of your desired living expenses. So trying to be debt-free, it actually often prevents you from being financially free. Now, let me give you a concrete example of that before I give you some more important context here. Say that you put a $40K down payment on a $200K income property. All right, well now you've got $160K worth of debt. You have added debt to your life. Okay, we'll get back to that part in a minute. We'll leave that debt right over here. Now, with each month with that property, say that your rent income is $200 more than all the property's expenses, mortgage, and everything else. That's a common scenario. All right, well now you've just generated $2,400 of mostly passive income to you each year. It's not much, but it's the beginning of financial freedom, okay? That seed has been planted. And now back to the debt, your $160K mortgage payment and all the other operating expenses are completely outsourced to your tenant, all while your property typically appreciates in value over time, and the tenant even pays that debt down as well. Now, in just this one example, with one small rental property, you've got $2,400 a year of residual income. All right, but what does that really mean to you? There's a deeper meaning in that. What does this really do for your one finite life's energy? Well, if you make $50 an hour, well then that's 48 fewer hours that you need to work this year, and you're winning your time back. Your very life is made up of chapters of time, and time is non-replenishable, a truly highest order resource. And unfortunately, time is a zero-sum game. That is why financially free beats debt-free. See, the debt crisis that's in your own home, it is how much time you owe to other people, like your employer. That time debt is what's most significant. And for most people, that's a type of debt that goes on for decades, and I want to tell you more about that part. But first, go ahead and put a like on the video if you like the perspective so far. I really appreciate seeing the thumbs up. Now, it's good to avoid, say, unsecured high interest rate debt like 20% APR on your credit cards. I mean, yes, retire that. And see, you can't outsource that debt to someone else like a tenant. But if you just go around trying to pay off debt that's tied to assets where that payment is already outsourced to tenants, well, then you do that at the expense of not adding more assets to your life. And the definition of assets are things that pay you to own them, and 5 rental properties with 20% down payments are substantially more profitable than one rental property that's paid off, because you've got 5 properties to appreciate rather than one. But here's an important question when we talk about your life energy. Even with a property manager, is direct ownership of real estate completely passive? Like completely? No, perhaps it's 99% plus. because your rent income is generated all 30 days of the month despite your involvement less than 1% of the time. And perhaps that's you in managing the manager. I simply manage my property managers in various real estate markets across the nation. Compare that scenario to your day job where you must constantly expend the majority of your faculties and energies and most productive time in order to make this income recur this week. And then you've got to go do it all again next week. So therefore, yes, money can absolutely buy happiness, but you've got to spend it on upgrading and expanding the things that make you happy instead of using it to play fleeting status games or on evanescent trivialities. So perhaps for you then, the wise spend is you having the time to live your passion as an equestrian, or hiking, or cleaning up a local creek, or coaching your kid's sports team, or writing that book that you just know that you have inside of you. And is that living your dream? And I mean, really, why would you design your life for anything less? You can quit your job and be free when you have enough passive monthly real estate rent income to meet or exceed all of your monthly living expenses. And look, life is miraculous. You and I are both alive across the cosmos. Intelligent life is rare. You are one in a billion, trillion, quadrillion. You won the life lottery only once. You are unique in the universe, now and forever, just like I am. And I don't think that you and I should fear death. We should fear a life where we could have accomplished more that's aligned with our souls. And it takes you freeing up your time in order to do that. It was 19th century educator Horace Mann that said, "Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity." Now I'm getting a little sappy on you, yes, here, but the point is that you need time. Most people are in too much time debt, often to an employer. And in my experience, if you're an investor that needs passive income, it's better to err on the side of being just a little too early rather than being too late. I mean, there's never a truly perfect time to build financial freedom, and your conception that it's often too early is often just your fear, and we all have fear, me included. As long as you've got a few touch points, once you dive in, you will figure it out. Old people tend to regret the things that they didn't do or didn't do earlier, not the things that they actually did in life. And you and I each have less time remaining in our lives than when we began at the start of this video. Investing for income now, that is a tool for freedom. And when you're no longer trading your time chiefly for dollars, that's when you can stop living a disembodied existence. You'll begin to own your time and truly be yourself. And if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for someone that you care about, because there's someone in this world that needs you to be you, and you probably know who that is. Now, after financial freedom, whether or not you want to go on to be rich from there, I think that part's up to you, but you must desperately get freedom of time for yourself first. And once you do become financially free, where your passive income exceeds all your expenses, rather than going for wealth, if instead you want to become debt-free then at that point, yeah, I think that sounds fine to me. It's about, though, overall, being yourself. I mean, think about it. Some people rudely wake up to an alarm that cuts through your sleep like a knife, which actually creates stress and is bad for your blood pressure. And that's mostly driven by the fact that you must be, say, sitting in your cushioned swivel seat at your workstation in your workplace by a set time that's determined by your employer, and that's how your day starts. That's not even being yourself, because see, you wouldn't naturally do that. The main reason that people keep showing up for a job that they'd rather not is fear. Fear is the main reason that keeps employees showing up for employers. That's a fear-based existence. And even if your job isn't so bad, I mean, really, ask yourself, in your heart of hearts, if you could be doing anything, is this really how you would choose to spend your time and design your life if you could be doing anything in the world at all? Now, when you're around age 20, You might be new to full-time employment. I mean, you're probably somewhere around that age when that started, around age 20. And you know what? It can actually feel kind of good when you're in your early 20s and you're being paid what feels like a respectable income for the first time in your entire life. I mean, I know what that feels like, but then say that 10 years go by, and by the time that you're 30, I think that a lot of workaday job type of people, you might tell yourself, well, making money is all right at this point at age 30, but I really don't want to do this for the rest of my life. But most people, they just stay stuck in that rut and they don't change because it feels safe. And feeling safe insulates you from fear. Well, some people, often around age 30, they pursue alternative avenues of more residual income, but others just keep plowing ahead, hating big chunks of their life and devoting energy at a full-time job because somehow you feel like you have to. You probably want more residual income if you're watching this video though, because maybe instead, around age 30 is when you begin telling yourself that you'd rather start building things that pay you to own them. And you're serving society, you're serving people with good housing, and your mindset supersedes your grind set. And by age 40, you're out of that soul-sucking job and you're living that life that you've always dreamed of living as you've accumulated assets. And it sure could happen to you earlier than 40. And by, say, age 50, well, now you look back and you're so glad that you chose the financially free track in life rather than the debt-free track. I mean, back on the slow, scarce, debt-free track, the people that mistakenly think that debt-free is the game worth winning, they're still losing their zero-sum, non-replenishable resource of time in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and beyond. So perhaps, I think it's often somewhere around age 30, abundantly minded, aware people like you developed your divergent, not running with the herd path, the financially free path instead. But it's not too late to start after age 30. On the Get Rich Education audio podcast, be sure you're listening to me on that show. And by the way, we have dedicated iOS and Android Get Rich Education apps so that you can listen to me there with a new show every Monday. Over there, I recently interviewed a longtime listener that didn't begin starting down the financially free path until he was age 52 there on the Get Rich Education podcast. So those that embrace financial freedom, they even believe that money is an abundant resource because you start having it all around you. Real estate pays 5 ways at the same time. You build a financial windfall for yourself with simultaneous real estate cash flow and leverage and arbitrage when you're young enough to enjoy it. And you soon look back and think, gosh, why would I have done things any other way? Instead, the work at a soulless job type tries to get free and climb the corporate ladder, and they believe that money is a scarce resource, which is why they think that they have to get debt free because they think money is a scarce resource, and they defer their life, and all the while they get eaten up by inflation and taxes in zero passive cash flow. And that person by age 50 is asking themselves, where did all the time go? I mean, you might have asked yourself that question already. Where did all the time go? Well, it went to a job that you're not passionate about, and you can't change history. All of those time chapters of your life are gone, and you never connected to those portions of your life at your soul. That's why you don't know where all of the time went. Those are two paths of those in their productive working years. There's never enough debt-free world versus the money is abundant, financially free world. If you're in a position where you can add rental property to your portfolio, we've made it easier than ever here with our free investment coaching here at GRE. Because of the strength of our GRE Marketplace network and our relationships here, we have a new construction property, a provider offering a mortgage rate to investors of 5.75%. Yes, they see that your rate is bought down to 5.75% in today's environment. And another new build investment property provider is offering a rate buy down to 4.75%. Yes, you heard that right. And we have another builder provider where our GRE investment coaches have been sharing with you a 2.99% seller financing option, although that one has some shortcomings. I don't know how long all of that can last. These income property builders are in business to keep moving properties, so take advantage of it. Some providers are even waiving their property management fee for you for the first year, in addition to buying down the rate. So this can be a really good time for you to contact your GRE investment coach, and your coach will help you shop the GRE marketplace properties, tell you where the real deals are nationally, and tell you how to get these improbably low mortgage rates for income properties. If you don't have an investment coach yet, it's truly free. Just go to gremarketplace.com and they're there to help you out. Marketplace properties also, they're often less expensive than properties elsewhere, in addition to those low rates from some providers. Now, why are the prices often, but not always, why are they often lower? Well, first of all, investor advantage markets, they're oftentimes in the Midwest and Southeast, they just intrinsically have lower prices than the national median. And then secondly, there's no real estate agent to compensate with a traditional 6% commission. You get to buy direct. And then thirdly, these providers are not mom and pop flippers that provide investors like you and others where they just flip 1 or 2 homes a year. Instead, these are builders and renovation management companies in business to do this at scale. So they get to buy their materials in bulk, keeping the price down for you. And another reason that you tend to find good deals at GRE Marketplace is that you aren't buying properties from owner occupants, where those people get their emotions involved and can be rather difficult to deal with. So you can go ahead and get started with off-market deals at GRE Marketplace. And if you'd like free coaching from our investment coaches, contact your coach. And if you don't have one yet, you can get started at gremarketplace.com. I'm Keith Weinhold. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.